let's do this. Let's define what we've been saying, pastors of this denomination. Here's our theological background, and where we land. Let's just define what a priest is and what a pastor is. So, Father Reinhardt, I'm going to throw it to you first so you can keep an eye on chat. How would you define, I'll give you the first one. What is a pastor?
So a pastor is a shepherd of the local church. Like they're the ones that's caring for the local church. They're the one that's leading the local church. They're teaching the local church. They're defending the local church from false teaching. Their job is essentially as an under shepherd, the one that cares for the church, and teaches the church, teaches the word. In scripture, you would see it in like First Timothy, where it would say maybe elders, and in my understanding, in my camp, elder and pastor would be interchangeable, and so they would fall into the same category. Yeah, so they're the ones that are teaching the church. They're helping guide the church and shepherd the church. In fact, in my office on my whiteboard, I have smell like sheep. Because if and it sounds kind of funny, but like if a pastor's not interacting with their congregation, they can't care for and lead their congregation. Yeah. And so if a shepherd doesn't smell like their smelly sheep, then they're not caring for their sheep. Same way a pastor should be in the trenches with their congregation, caring for them, walking through life with them, all that kind of stuff.
What is the smell of a Missouri pastor then?
Not as much corn as Iowa. It's sad. I miss the corn. Yeah, so not as much corn. That's about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I love that definition. I love all the things you were saying there. I think the only thing I would add would be that it's a pastor as a spiritual leader of a Protestant church, right? I think other than that, I think you nailed everything else, right? They're the ones who are fulfilling First Timothy. They're interchangeable with things like overseer and elder. Yeah, I think you nailed it. Ferris, what about on the other end of the spectrum here of what we're talking about here? When it comes to priests, how would we define what kind of like a good way to define what a priest is?
So a little nuanced here. So you'll have primarily when you talk about priests, you're talking about a few specific denominations, which is primarily Catholic, Eastern Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, Anglican, and some Episcopal churches. But even like when you go like more Anglican than Episcopal churches, because Episcopal churches sit in America and they like to call their people pastors, but technically they run the role of priests. Historically, what we see the difference between priests and pastors is one gigantic primary difference, which is that priests serve as a mediator between God and the people, right? Which is why you confess your sins to the priest. He, on behalf of God, tells you the penance that you need to do, either through prayers or service, and then absolution of your sin comes through that penance that's taken. I think honestly that's one of the primary differences. Now there's a whole long litany of differences of like how they run their churches. Like priests will have a mass at their church every single day. Pastors in Protestant churches normally don't do that.
We only work on Sundays. What are you talking about?
1 day a week, baby.
1 day a
week. 100%. 100%. The easiest job in the world.
Yeah, that's why I guess I'll have YouTube channels and do shows on Sunday nights.
They will also bless the sacraments, which then transforms them into the actual body and blood of Christ according to their belief. Yep, transubstantiation. Instead of just like wine or grape juice for, solo brother Father Ironheart's church.
Right. Cardboard wafers and juice.
That's right. If it's not a Jeez-It, I don't want it.
Have you guys gone back? Probably this is going to be politically incorrect, but one of the biggest disasters that COVID affected in the Christian realm has to have been in the church world. Has to have been the stupid communion cups,
like the all-in-ones with the little, all-in-ones cardboard
that like churches realize you could save money on by just doing that instead of like buying bread and getting grape juice.
It doesn't pass germs either.
Have you guys still, not to get totally derail this conversation now that we're on topic?
Let's derail it. It's gone.
Let's derail.
Are you guys, Father Reinhardt? I'm looking
at you
first. My last
church used them.
Are you guys using it? You're the solo pastor, brother, Father Reinhardt.
We've been talking about it, and in my mind, man, we'd have one loaf, we'd be tearing it off, and some of the people were like, "That's weird." I was like, it's not weird, but they're
We're all gonna drink from one goblet.
They're oh god, a goblet
Yes.
even.
Wipe,
Not
wipe
even a
and pass
grail.
it.
No, my church isn't quite ready to switch back, but the goal is to have both options available. So then if you want to have a more pre-COVID option, you can do that. Or if you're like nervous about it, you can take the all-in-one plastic cardboard thing with highly processed. I don't want to call it juice because it's not, but
it's just like
Do
a
you have
swig
to
of medicine.
Do you have to transubstantiate each individual? Like
That would
it's a
be-
process,
glass?
man.
Yeah, that would be a great question for a priest. I want to follow up. I'm gonna go to like the local Catholic church in my area and just be like, so help me understand transubstantiation in light of COVID and how like the pre-packets or if I'm sure they do. They have to. If anyone in chat is Catholic or you've gone to a mass in recent time, let us know how the Catholics have done communion lately because I have no idea. But Ferris, are you guys still doing the cups too? The 2-in-1?
Hold on, receipts.
Bless you. Oh,
Thank God for the mute button. Thank God for the mute. So we still primarily do the cups, but we have been testing out going back to intinction, the rip and dip.
The rip and dip.
The past couple months as well. So what we've been primarily doing is offering both to see what our church is most comfortable with. What we're finding is people like the intinction a whole lot better than the cups. And I'll be real honest, I like that too because it's a whole lot less setup and cleanup. If I'm just talking about quite literally how much time it takes because I only work on Sundays, I have to go in another day to do that, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, who wants to go on a second day a week?
How many Ferris, how many are at your church on an average Sunday?
Like just at my campus or whole church?
See, yeah, okay. Your campus, since you're the one going in to do all the cleanup that one extra day a week.
Between 700 and 800.
Okay.
Just adults.
Okay. So mine, you see, for my church, it's like 75. So we're like buying a loaf, maybe two. And I don't have to come in an extra day. I can just come in an hour earlier.
That's
Still
awesome.
too much. If more than 3 hours.
Still
a day
too
on
much.
one day.
At our church, we're still doing the same. We're still having little cups, little all-in-one. I went to a church though in Chicago when I was still in college, and I think it was called. I won't say the name of the church. I'm not gonna embarrass them, but they had this like slogan that they would say throughout their it was like their thing. Then they always said, "We drink from the dregs of Jesus" or something like that. And
Ugh.
I don't I'm like, what does that even mean? They said it like about 8 or 9 times, not exaggerating, throughout the message. Well, it was in this like theater. There's probably about 30 to 40 people in this church service. And they had one loaf of bread. And I kid you not, the bread got passed around. You ripped off your piece. And then there was a bowl that had juice in it. And you were supposed to dip your bread in the bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And then eat it all at once. That was probably one of my least. That's like
The
still
rip
the
and
communion
dip.
cup we have now.
Yeah, that's the
but then
rip and
that.
dip, bro.
Is that what you're
That's
saying?
the rip and dip.
That's
Yeah.
the rip and dip.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's completely sanitary because the Lord protects it.
That's what it is.
How many?
The Lord
Never mind. I'm
protects
not going to get into that. Okay.
All right, but let's
I love
get-
this conversation.
I
derailed us.
100% I 100% need this to happen in my lifetime. I
What?
need the little cracker. I need it to be changed into this name right here. I need it to turn into a Jeez-It. I need that to be
Jeez-It.
like grape juice and a Jeez-It.
I
There you
can't.
go.
Okay?
I can't. I feel like I can't.
Like
that-
Ironheart, as you're leading communion this coming Sunday, you're like he poured out his blood, take and drink along with me, and then also he gave his flesh. Take your little Jeez-It in your cup and pop
Oh,
it in.
no.
Please.
Communion G Fuel.
Oh,
Have you?
Some
All right, here's
some of the
here's
people
how
in my
we-
church would
Flavored
go,
G-Fuel.
excuse me?
Do you guys stream your services at all, Father Reinhardt?
No, I just record the message and post that.
Oh, perfect. Because then we can know. So here's to end this part to cap this. Let's do this. Have you ever played What Are the Odds?
No, I have not. But this,
Okay, here's how this works.
Oh,
you
no.
give us a number between 1 and whatever, and let's say it's 1 and 10, right? So you're gonna give me 1 to 10. I'm gonna count down 3, 2, 1. You and Ferris are gonna say a number between 1 and 10. If it happens to be the same number, You have to do what Ferris just said.
Oh no!
But you get to pick the odds. You could do 1 in a million. You could do 1 in 60. If you're cool, you're gonna do something like 1 in 5.
If you're cool, wow. You know what? I listened to a Stories of Odyssey with my daughter, and I was told you're a coward if you listen to your friends do bad things. So,
come on, just for the content, what are the odds?
For the content, 1 out of 10.
Oh, he's gonna do 1 out of 10.
I'm doing it.
All right.
Okay.
And then we're gonna get to see it on the recording.
Okay.
All right, you guys ready? I'll do the countdown because you both have the same delay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
4.
5.
Oh, so close. All right, you don't have to do it. Normally, if the game keeps going, then it would be Ironheart's turn to name a different bet that Ferris has to do, and then the odd gets cut in half. So instead of 1 in 10, it'd be 1 in 5.
Gosh,
that Ferris would have to do, and then if that didn't work, it'd be 1 in 3.
Oh my Lanta!
If it got to 1 of 2, then yeah. But anyways, you don't have to do it. We're not gonna get sacrilegious here. I kind of have a sense of relief that we didn't make you come back and then do something like that.
I would be like, guess who didn't do communion on Sunday?
Yeah.
Suckers.
Guess who decided not to do it anymore for this week?
Guess who just quit? I'm done.
Our church does communion in the home and privately now.
Yeah. How often do you guys do communion? Our church does communion every week.
Every week? See, I kind of wish we would, to be totally honest.
We do it once a month.
My previous church had once a month, and this one they've done it like once every 3 months, and I'm like, what? That was new to me too.
Every 3 months? That seems like a long time.
It is.
It's like once a quarter almost.
That's one of the things that I've been talking to the deacons about, and because I don't want to like, I'm still really new. I just started in January, and I don't want to come in, like, kick the door down and say, okay, we're doing this, we're changing all these things, because I know that's like not a good idea.
Yeah.
So my hope at some point is to have it at least once a month, but I would in an ideal world it would be weekly, and honestly I'd like to shift towards more like a full meal after church. Like everyone hangs out and we eat together. But this is way beyond all the other stuff. But
are you actually going to reinstate wine? Okay.
Because my church would throw a fit if we did
grape
wine.
juice is not biblical.
My church would not do the wine. They would not have it. Now some
How do they
would,
feel that Jesus drank?
You know what? We'll have that conversation at some point, but I don't know who's not ready for it. I don't know if it's me or them, but
right.
Hey, we need weekly communion and RGB on the pulpit when we go live.
Yes.
Oh no.
Thanks, Carlito.
Oh no. Oh, I'm all about that. Let's go.
Ivory John said in the Orthodox Church, communion is done multiple times a week for special days, but never more than once in a day on the same altar. That's interesting. Yeah, the Orthodox Church, another one that we talk. I think Ferris mentioned Greek Orthodox is they call them priests too. There's a lot of tradition still rooted in that, and that's one of the major ways that we can kind of see the difference between a pastor and a priest. Where anyone who's gone to a Catholic church, you see there's a lot of traditional aspects, not necessarily wrong in and of themselves, but a lot of tradition in that, and a priest being a part of that. We see as we start to get into the history of this a little bit more here in our second section. You guys will see why that is. You'll see where we branched off as Christians, and why the Christian church doesn't really have priests nowadays. But we'll get to that in just a second.